We're very excited. So if you could start out with your background and
Yeah, so born and raised here in Wyoming. I actually went to school for art, so I went and did a Bachelor of Fine Arts, and then upon graduation, ended up working in special education. And I did that for many years, and then moved on to kind of more of the federal grant world in behavioral health. And so I'm now at the organization I've been with for 7 years, Strong Families, Strong Wyoming. And I primarily write federal grants with this organization, and we do all youth-based programs. So we've done a variety of programming from career job readiness to teen parenting to right now we're doing a healthy relationship program that teaches kind of social emotional learning skills. But I've always kind of been interested in bringing back my art background. And so recently I've been looking into ways that the arts can help youth. So trying to combine that behavioral health and art world. And so this fall I'll be going back. I have my master's in art education. So this fall I'm going back to do a master's in public health. And so some of the things I want to research is looking at how the arts can help youth involved in juvenile justice.
Mhm.
And so my executive director had a nonprofit organization she used to run that's kind of been sitting dormant. And so she would like to bring that back through Wyoming Families First. And so we would like to get more of the arts um, out there for these youth. So we're looking at partnering with a couple of community organizations here that already work with youth, either in detention centers or through diversion programs, probation, or residential treatment centers. And then on top of that, a couple other art-based organizations are looking to partner with me as well. They have a lot of the space to hold the events if the detention center or other residential treatment center doesn't have room.
Mhm.
So the idea is to look at how the arts can build protective factors in these youth to help them from reoffending or even youth that have been involved in juvenile justice in the past or kind of have some precursors that show they might be going down that pathway is kind of all the youth we're looking at for this. And so I'm hoping to get them involved in projects that allow them to see how they can express emotions through making art, for example, develop confidence or self esteem or connections to their community. And so I'm hoping to have guest speakers from the local community that are in the arts come in to kind of share their career in the art. I would like to have local artists come in to be teaching artists. And
Mhm.
then I'd like to have these family art making nights, and that would help for the families to come in and create those connections amongst themselves. So, in a gist, those that is what we're looking at for the
Mhm.
programming moving forward.
So this grant that you awarded, what kind of program are you going to use this grant for?
So with this grant I wrote in, I would like to expand some of those services, just because a lot of the youth that have been served or being kind of a part of that are under an age limit. So there's a big chunk of youth that are not being able to be included in this.
So what kind of art project are you going to provide? Because this grant was for a project.
Yes, so we really want the youth to be involved to give them kind of that youth voice. But we're going to have to kind of give them some options so it's not just wide open. So we're really looking to expose them to high quality arts they don't have, such as photography or printmaking, are two of the big ones.
So are you going to be teaching this?
Yes, so with my art background, I would lead and then I would have teaching artists come in to assist.
Mhm. What's your time frame on this project? for delivery? Do you have one?
So I was hoping to look at either this fall or the spring.
Mhm.
Um, I wasn't too clear, I guess, on the application if there was a certain time it had to be done by.
No,
Okay,
no.
gotcha. Um,
Mm-mm.
so my hope is I'm meeting with some of the programs, organizations here in a week or so, and they're looking at maybe doing like after school or an intensive weekend. I really have to be flexible and kind of go with their schedule. So that's kind of up in the air, but they're definitely interested in starting this fall with school.
So how many children or how many young adults are you thinking about serving with this grant?
It'd be on the smaller side in terms of
Mhm.
the youth per se. It would probably because they serve youth alternatives right now. Um, and just in terms to give you an idea of Wyoming's demographics, I live in the biggest city in Wyoming that's about 60,000
Mhm.
people. So pretty, our total state population is around like 580,000.
Wow.
Um, so their organization serves anywhere from around 20 to 30 youth. So that's kind of the most I'm looking at. To
Mhm.
then involve families would kind of vary on how many family members of each of those youth would
Mhm.
want to be involved.
Did you have the so it sounds like you're looking for a general like a kind of art training program for these people so that they'll have like a extracurricular, because that's the big issue with a lot of youth in terms of just all time. If they don't have anything to do in the week or after school or on the weekends, then they'll usually get in trouble. Um do you have a like a specific idea on um like a curriculum, or is that something you're going to work with the nonprofit to figure out?
Yeah, so I actually kind of have started developing a little bit of my own
Mhm.
curriculum, and I'm hoping through grad school to really refine that through possibly a future evaluation. So right now I have different lessons I've created, and
Nice.
each lesson has guided, meaningful kind of reflection components. So there's different, once again, kind of social emotional learning skills incorporated. So for example, if you were to do like a watercolor lesson, they would have to go through a bunch of different written prompts and discussions to talk about emotions and associating colors with emotions. And then as they go through understanding, maybe that's as an outlet to express that emotion, just as an example. So it's kind of twofold in the hope that they're having these activities, like you mentioned, in when there's not a lot of available activities around. Especially the arts are really getting cut in Wyoming,
Yeah.
unfortunately. Um,
Why we wanted to support, artists in these organizations that really don't have access to the arts in school or whatever. And we feel like it's definitely
mhm,
critical for not only just brain development and
agreed.
getting out of the screens and processing emotions like you were saying. I love that, and I am an artist too, and I really healed a lot through doing art. I had a lot of issues, and I still do, but I mean I can manage them a little bit better now. But I feel like I've healed a lot of things through um, painting and drawing and creating. So I appreciate what you're doing in this community. And I know it's probably a slugfest to get things done because it sounds like you've got a lot of moving parts with different other organizations, because to have access to the kids, you've got to work with the criminal justice system or probation. Is that correct?
Correct.
Yeah. And so they're not just somebody you can walk in off the street and go, okay, we're going to have a class, or have them walk in. Okay. Show
Correct.
10 o'clock and we're going to, do you have to provide them any food or any are you thinking about providing them art supplies for after when they leave? So they can do it like maybe some kind of prompts to take home with them? Or is that something that I'm just throwing out?
Yeah, so great question. So depending on the location, I have to be kind of careful with what supplies I bring in, especially the detention center. Just to give you a little info on that, you'd have to do background checks for each location you're at, and then whatever training they require. So I do, for example, one location is you definitely have to have the Prison Rape Elimination Act training. Others, various whatever they require. So I do make sure to comply with all of that at each location.
So
And
let
then
me ask you this, would somebody that came in and helped you, like another instructor, would they have to go through that training too?
yes, correct.
Oh, wow.
Yep. So
Do they
there's a lot of
pay for that? Do they, or is it provided at no
nope.
charge?
It's all free through each
Oh, that's good.
organization. Um, so that is good. Yeah, so I would like to look at especially the family art making events to have some sort of food snacks available, especially just because looking at the time, that would probably be after school again,
Yeah.
late afternoon, weekends also. And then in terms of things they could take home, I would like each youth to at least have a sketchbook and then a special pencil case that has drawing pencils,
Yeah.
blenders, and erasers. I'm thinking, and then I also would like to kind of go back. I kind of got out of order. I'm talking about the art organizations I'm partnering with. They're great in that they are actually only serve adults. They're wanting to kind of look at expanding youth, but that's kind of where we're hoping to make the connection of me coming in and doing
And
that.
what,
But
and what's the name of that organization? Do you mind me asking?
yep, that's called Arts Cheyenne.
Art Cheyenne. Okay,
Mhm.
that's easy to remember.
Yeah, and so with their new, uh, they just received their own grant to kind of finally get a building space, what they're calling the Cheyenne Creativity Center, is where I'm hoping to not only have some of the art events, but hopefully the youth can have a finished piece they could
I was going
submit
to
for
say,
us,
yeah,
yeah, to do an exhibition. So that's kind of the
exhibition is
concluding theme.
really rewarding. Yeah, I was just going to suggest that. That's really, we're on the same page. So that's, yeah.
Perfect. Yeah.
Well, I think this is fantastic. And
Now, one thing we do, or we are kind of asking, it's not a requirement, of course, but we're asking that the people that you do try to document this as much as possible. Now, another
Mhm.
person we talked to, they're going to be in a healthcare, like mental health facility, so they can only document so much, like them setting up the event and then the post event and stuff like that, and any ideas after that. So we already know that like for something like this, you're most likely going to not be able to record the event because these are kids and they're they're going through tough times. So, but we would ask that like when you go on a supply run, you're picking something up, just trying to record like, hey, these are this, just so that we have something to post on socials, to be like, show that like what's happening, with each one of these events, stuff like that. Just so we have some content so we can really put out there. It's not a requirement, but it's just like one of those things of like, hey, if you could, that's something we could really work with to kind of promote
because we feel
your
like the more
project.
people that know about this, the better it is.
Yeah.
But we
Actually,
don't
I was
really want,
gonna.
go ahead.
Oh, sorry to interrupt. I was gonna actually ask you. I planned on doing my own kind of pre and post survey to get student feedback. So I didn't know
Yeah,
if that
Great.
would.
Oh,
yeah,
yes,
yeah.
definitely.
Okay.
Definitely. Because
Um,
we want to do white papers on this so we can get funding to help more artists and organizations. So this is
Perfect.
important to us, not only to help, but to get documentation so we can help more, serve more clients.
Yeah, and I can definitely. I'm used to saving all receipts, anyways. That's not a problem. I could definitely document the art. I think, especially in progress, as long as no
Mm.
faces
Yeah.
are
Exactly.
shown, I could totally have photographs of that. And then if families came to the actual art making night altogether, I could have photo release forms there.
Yeah, that'd be.
So
Yeah.
Mhm.
that would be kind of my plan on that.
Yeah.
Would somebody from our organization be able to attend? Or would we?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, if
Yeah.
you'd like to come out to Wyoming, that'd
Yeah.
be great.
So you get the grant, and we do encourage people to pay themselves because it's work that you're doing, and then do what you can to get the supplies and promote the stuff you can with the money. If you have any left over, that's still your money, so you could use it to pay yourself, or give all to the nonprofit, or anything in
Buy
between.
more supplies and give them away, or maybe even save it for another.
Gotcha. And I'd be okay then. So say I brought in a guest speaking artist, I could pay them.
Oh, of
There's no
course.
okay. Okay, that's
Absolutely.
perfect. I'm super excited. I think I have a lot of other organizations now excited about this project, which makes me happy that this funding is helping me to get things really going, and I'm so appreciative to have been selected.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We're excited to see what kind of project, you finalize it with. I know in your application, you mentioned something with photography, correct?
Yeah, I'm really interested. I do a lot of my own tintype kind of wet plate collodion photography. Chemically, that's a little bit much, I think, for this youth in terms of not wanting to have something too risky. But I also do a lot of film and different other alternative photography processes. So a lot of the youth, I think, have no exposure just because there's not a lot of development labs around anymore, and most things are digital. So we really wanted to kind of look at getting that kind of out there for them to try a few different things. So,
That's cool. I like that. Mhm.
well, thank you.
And I think
Yeah.
there are some alternate darkroom processes that don't have the more volatile chemicals, I think. Like alternatives to the alcohol and other
hmm
items that are typically needed for that. But yeah, they could probably help. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a couple you can use with UV lights.
Mhm.
Chemicals are a little more minimal, but then there's some, they're called solar prints or cyanotypes. Pretty easy. That would be great. So I definitely have a few ideas.
Nice.
So do you need to get approval for this too from the organization? Or
Yep. hmm
wow.
Yeah, like everything is going to require approval for both the organization and for the incarceration uh, organizations as well. Yeah.
Yep.
So do you think you'll have all that finished by this fall?
Yeah, I already have background checks and all of the training
Great.
completed. Um, and so it's just a matter of I will meet with the executive directors of the organizations and kind of go and share my ideas, and then they'll let me know what's allowable or not. But it sounds like they're all pretty excited because they don't have any arts programming really either.
Oh,
So they're
that's,
pretty,
go ahead. I'm
oh,
sorry.
they're pretty open to whatever I think I want to do.
We'd love to interview some people from the nonprofit or some of these agencies. And because I feel like the more that we show that people are willing to do this, we
hmm
just want to have a positive effect in your community and the communities across the United States, and that we can, by
Yeah.
demonstrating that these things are happening, these things are available, we're willing to do them. All we need is some people to step up and help fund more of them so we can get more grants out there. Well, thanks again. We appreciate it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
My only question would be, I know that I'm meeting here through the next 2 weeks with all the directors and executive directors. Is it okay for the budget? Because I want to kind of finalize the final idea of the project. Is that okay to have that filled out within the next 2 weeks?
Oh, yeah, that's perfect.
Okay.
That's wonderful. Sure.
and again, you know, like if you start talking and it feels like there's going to be more approvals that are going to make it take a little longer, there's no time, you know, limit on this. So if it has to be in spring, that, you know, that's, again, we're fine with that, you know. So
Okay.
if it starts, if it, like, you know, people are like, oh no, actually, you know, and you start seeing the wheels of bureaucracy kind of go a little slower, and don't feel like, you know, oh no, I have to stress out about this. It's like, okay, now we can pivot to, you know, spring. There's no, you know, you don't have to feel like you have to, you know, if your goal is fall, but because of the people you're, you know, because of all the things working around this project, it just can't get it. Then don't try, you know, try not to feel too stressed, because you know, it's not like we're not gonna just go, oh well, too bad, you know, we're not gonna do that.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Okay. Thank you guys.
Yeah.
Thank you. Well, it's good to meet you, and we look forward to seeing you again, maybe on the next call, which will hopefully be with one of the principals from one of the nonprofits or whatever. And I'd love to meet whatever artist you bring in too.
Yeah, definitely.
That would be cool.
Definitely.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank
It
you.
was wonderful to meet you both.
Yeah,
Have a
you
good
too.
day.
Bye-bye.
Have a great evening.
Bye bye.